Now, look, I may be in my late 30s, but statistically speaking, a lot of you watching these videos that we put out are between 15 and 25. And that means you either weren't born or were too young to play Resident Evil 4 when it first came out on the GameCube in January 2005, and despite Capcom promising that it would be an exclusive, other consoles later that year. And whether you were old enough to play it at the time is actually kind of irrelevant, because I was old enough, I did play it, and I didn't realise that at the time I was not only playing a game that would fundamentally transform the franchise it was being birthed from like a glorious squiggly little horror, but also the look and feel of third-person action games sort of forever. So, if you are a young'un and you haven't experienced this world-changing slab of insanity and melodrama, or you are a creaking millennial like myself, or even older, and you want a fresh dose of nostalgia delivered with the intensity of a Leon S. Kennedy roundhouse kick, strap in and find out what Game Tips reviewer Matt Evans thought of Resident Evil 4. Resi 4 was a major departure from the games that came before it. Resident Evil games had been marked by fixed camera angles, slow tank controls, guns that only had to be pointing vaguely towards an enemy when you pulled the trigger to be hitting them, and absolutely horrendous dialogue. The fixed camera allowed for some gorgeous but resource-inexpensive pictures that your polygonal protagonist and their pitiless, perverse polygonal predators could move through, rather than needing to devote processing power to rendering fully 3D environments. But consoles came a long way from 1996 to 2005, and Nintendo had this big, beautiful cuboid ready to go. And with the Resi games beginning to feel a little bit stale, they needed to try something new. So they took the extra computing power, rendered fully 3D levels, and decided in a moment of genius to try putting the camera close in over the character's shoulder and giving you the ability to precisely aim your shots, and whoops, it looks like gaming has been changed forever. Yes. While you still have to stand still to ready your firing stance and shoot, you have total freedom of movement. And so do the enemies. Combat has evolved from desperately cringing backwards down a hallway as a single zombie eats your bullets as an appetizer before your neck meat, to desperately screaming, "Fuck off!" as you blast the legs off an infected Spaniard before lobbing a grenade into a crowd of his friends at the bottom of the stairs and diving out a second-story window as a chainsaw-wielding monstrosity hacks down the door behind you. And that isn't a late-game climax, that is the first combat encounter of the game. Things do settle down a bit after the creepy, then intense ordeal of the opening, but it's always tense, grotesque, and surprising. Resi 4 also implemented another staple that carried on into the future in the form of QuickTime events, or QTEs. Whatever you might think of them now, at the time, discovering that putting your controller down to grab a swig of 2005 gamer fuel, for which read Sunny D, could lead to your immediate and gruesome death was really cool. And that nostalgia has made me still enjoy them to this day. But where Resident Evil 4 did not evolve compared to all of the places where it did, well, the story is still absolutely bananas, with the action shifting from Anywhere USA to a depiction of rural Spain that bears absolutely no resemblance to any area of Spain that I have ever seen. And the story being Leon S. Kennedy, last seen a few years prior as a rookie cop in Raccoon City, now the super bestest, most handsomest Secret Service agent in the world on a solo mission looking for the president's missing daughter Ashley, who, it turns out, has been kidnapped by an evil aristocrat called Salazar, who rules a bunch of peasants who live like it's 1885 and have all been infected by evil squiggly mind control parasites called Las Plagas that they dug up in a mine. Salazar wants Ashley because he wants to infect her so that she can infect the president, so that he can rule America and therefore the world. So we've got the young damsel in distress who Leon finds pretty early on, actually, and then proceeds to lose again and again, having to fight his way through increasingly large hordes of infected people, increasingly large individual abhorrent monsters, increasingly opulent environments, trying to get her back. Also along for the ride is Ada Wong, who occasionally shows up to save Leon when the story decides that she should, injects some flirty sexual tension, promise that she'll explain what's going on, and then fuck off without explaining anything at all. Oh, and she does all of this in a tight red dress because this is Resident Evil, goddammit, and sense and practicality have absolutely no place here. All of this might make it sound like we over at Game Tips don't like this game, but nothing could be further from the truth. At the time it came out, it was legitimately groundbreaking. It influenced and inspired so many of the huge franchises that dominated gaming in the decades after it, not to mention taking the Resident Evil franchise itself from being a flagging survival horror franchise that looked like it was on its last legs to being one that has survived another entire cycle of stagnation, then reinvention, to continue to produce some of the finest, scariest survival horror games ever made. Yes, playing the original version in 2025 frankly doesn't feel great compared to the 2 decades of control schemes that have refined what it pioneered, and the constant losing and finding of Ashley definitely gets a bit tired after a while. But this game still deserves a solid 8 out of 10, even today, for its ambition, its bonkers story, its gameplay, and its legacy. Plus, if you try it and you just cannot get on with the ancient controls, and I'm one of those people, I re-downloaded it when it came out and was available on PS5 to play, and I could not carry on. You can now play the remake, which uses the incredible updates from the Resi 2 and Resi 3 remakes and slaps them onto Resi 4. It even has a whole entire VR mode for the game. It's fantastic. Play it, and the Resi 2 and Resi 3 remakes as well, because they're all great. That's the clumsy end to this video, I suppose. As always, do the YouTube thing. If you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. Leave us a comment, give us a like. All of it helps us be seen by more people, and we want more people to see these so that we have more people watching them and reading our website, so that we can keep doing more of this stuff, and I don't have to do other jobs which stop me from being able to make more of these videos. Let us know in the comments, in particular, if there are any games that we've covered on the website that you'd like to see made into a video, if there's any coverage that you want us to be doing that you haven't seen from us at all. Let us know what you think about Resident Evil 4, either the original or the remake. And for anything else gaming, come and find us on gametips.gg.